Yes. It's a very bad idea to interview brewing. I'm so sorry about this. Let's go brew another cup.
Hi, I'm Sharan, a third generation coffee planter and owner of Salawara estate, which is located in the Western Ghats next to Chikmagalur. And I've been in the coffee industry since 2016, and we started a company called GroundUp Coffee, which we use our own coffee from the estate and roast it and serve it to customers. It's a B2C company as well as B2B, and we do a bean to cup, whole journey of a bean to cup process.
Brilliant. I'd like to know a little bit more about the estate, about the plantation.
So Salawara estate is located in the Western Ghats, very close to the Chikmagalur area, which comes under the Sakleshpur district, which is very close to Belur and Halibid, which the Hoysala dynasty. It's around 3,700 feet from sea level, and close to 360 acres of plantation, which has both Arabica as well as Robusta plantation.
And we will want to know a little bit about your journey ahead. What is it that you have in mind with Salawara? With regards
So
to Salawara?
Salawara estate was the whole journey with Salawara is getting up in line with the whole new trend of the third generation of coffee. So we do a lot of different varieties of processing to maintaining quality check, being eco-friendly as much as possible, not using harsh chemicals and stuff like that. So we are trying to become more sustainable in the plantation and getting as much as possible out of the land as well. Yes. By intercropping and having coffee growing as well with pepper, oranges, avocados, so on.
I remember, I think the first interaction I had with Sharan was actually at his plantation, and what most impressed me is the thought that they put into at so many levels of growth, from the flowering to the bean to actually even processing and even post-processing. I'm sure I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions with regards to post-processing and his thoughts on that. But in the meantime, would you like to brew us a cup of coffee?
Let's do that.
From the man inside, Sharan.
So
While he's doing this, let's also keep the discussion going, if it's okay. Yeah. So, many of our viewers are new, just like me, to the industry. And thanks for supporting us and encouraging Zenagi to do what it's doing within the area of MPCG. What I'd like to know from you is what are the predominant processes that you've been doing for years, and some of the new ones that you may want to introduce. Not too much at length, but just a bit.
Yeah, so previously the production in the estate levels, what used to happen in Indian coffee as general was there was not much concentration given on selective picking. And quality wasn't the main priority, the quantity was the priority. So now the generation is more quality focused. So we do selective picking, which is just picking up the right berries, which plays the most important role in quality. Then we do wash processes with fermentations, carbonate macerations, fermented naturals, and so on. And in Salawara, what we do unique is we love experimenting with different processes and learning out of the previous years and how every year things change and how we can improve ourselves and get up to speed. And it's showing, the results are showing in the cup as well as Indian coffee being recognized all around the world as one of the few really good coffees coming out in the world.
Right, I totally agree. I think multitasking is a little bit tricky for Sharan because he wants to get his coffee just right, so we kind of took a pause there till we spoke, but the process is back on. Now with regards to two parts, one is of course the experimental lots. So we've been receiving some experimental lots from you graciously, and we've been trying them out, and there is of course a lot more things to do, a lot more things to try. And it's not that it's a one-stop trial, like you do one thing, you like it, it goes on, but also to get the continuity in that kind of a lot, to get the similarity, consistency going? I think there's a lot more preparation that goes from your side.
Yeah, so a lot of things depend. So your weather pattern, your picking, harvesting season plays a very important and a vital role as well. So the fermentation can go really fast or slow due to the temperature as well as rain, and looking at the amount of the sugar content, or what we call as bricks content in the fruit as well, plays a very important role. So there's a lot of parameters what we need to look at before we get into processing, because each batch can vary a lot, and each varietal can change as well. So we need to look into a lot more, and it's not just that you pick, you ferment, and you produce. So there's a lot more processes,
In-depth, of course, I'm sure.
processes, and a lot of effort which comes from the pickers as well as our end, where it takes a lot of it's very labor intensive. So yeah, there are hurdles on the way which we need to look at and adapt ourselves accordingly as well.
Which one are we brewing today? What
So
is the one
we
that
are doing a hand washed, which we have roasted. So let's see.
So you mentioned that we are doing the 72-hour hand washed.
Fermented hand washed, which is one of the unique processes what we do in our estate. So as I said, I love experimenting, and these are a few experimental lots which we have done over there.
As you know, the MPCG is still catching on to the flair of specialty coffee. Thankfully, there are a bunch of coffee shops that have opened that are doing specialty coffee now. I, for one, absolutely love the Salawara blend that we get from you. The versatility of it is second to none, is what I personally feel. I'm connecting you with the cafes over there with the primary outlook that if someone is new to coffee and he or she is trying it for the first time, he can have a whole gamut of flavors just within that one.
Yeah,
it's like my one-stop shop,
So
personally.
Salawara blend was curated by Sonali Menon. It's been one of our most sold coffee blend, as well as it was designed in such a way that it is suitable for all many palates. Basically, it goes really well with milk-based beverages as well as with black coffee. So Salawara blend is named after the estate itself. So to have, so it's basically 100% Arabica blend with a little bit of naturals in it, which is roasted in 3 different roast levels and which gives out a very unique taste profile.
I completely agree with this.
So it is a one-stop for a cafe or any place which is serving coffee. It becomes like a one main
In the main
coffee.
go-to, the main go-to, yes,
go
of
for
course.
coffee for both your milk-based beverages as well as with black coffee.
Agreed. Now, with the little bit of outlook that I have towards the community, of course, all of them have been very encouraging, from you as the planter, from being a roaster, to even other merchants, traders, institutions like Benki's, for example. So they've all been very encouraging of me to come into the crowd to kind of get to know everyone and move forward together. But what I need to know from here on is, for example, we have the Indian Aeropress Championship coming up as another event, which is a big event in my eyes, because the limelight is now on Indore also, because it's the first time it's happening in Indore. So there's something that you like to talk about that. These small competitions that happen everywhere.
This whole competition and bringing people together with the like-minded, all the people who love coffee is great, and community. It's coffee community is a very close-knit community as of now, and having more people join in and such as you, and helping in educating the market on what quality coffee is and what and getting the recognition, what the hard work behind the estate and what goes into coffee is recognized and people understand what it is a great deal.
Agreed.
So it's all about spreading the education, spreading the love of coffee.
Totally. We were talking about bottlenecks. In the cafe industry, what we are facing now is an absolute bottleneck towards good workforce.
That comes from both estate level to the
All the
cafe
way, yes?
level.
Okay.
So yeah, coffee industry requires skilled labor, and there's abundant of cafes and roasteries which are coming up, and that do which are doing great jobs, and there's a lot of labor shortage as well as skilled labor thing. So yeah, there's a lot of hurdles and those things which need to be
From
done.
the region that I am, I personally feel that because the market is not evolved, because not too many people are asking for it in terms of specialty, that percentage of consistency, that percentage of likability in terms of specialty is still less. So even though the cafe shops are there, the staff is not treated, actually, it is not the right word, but the staff that we are getting is unskilled. It is let us say that it is hospitality staff, it is waiting staff, it is someone who is working in the kitchen now, who's working on the bar, at the barista, for example, and then they get trained from scratch, right? What we are trying to address is a place where everyone can come in, whether it be a hobbyist or be a person who's pursuing this as a profession, and come and learn and grow from there. I think this, as a community, needs to be addressed, not just
The
my
main
company.
thing is the person who it's not too hard to learn the skill. It just needs practice and knowledge behind what you're doing. So understanding why we do this, why the pouring in a circular manner, why the slow pouring, understanding those basics and getting things right, and which you can learn on the go as well. It's not that it's a textbook thing. You just
Right.
do it over practice and learn over
Right,
practice.
right.
And for me, I still think that I'm still learning. A lot more is there to go. But the main focus of thing is the person needs to have the interest in learning, and
Correct.
that's about it. And if the workforce what we have is more interested in learning and trying to educate more people and having the knowledge what the process is going to help in teaching other people as well as for them to know what goes into a cup as well.
Correct. So yes, consistency is one part, as the cafe's part goes, skill is another. Now when we talk about learning, there is no skill that you can't learn on YouTube, theoretically, or watching others, right? But what was invaluable to me when I came down here for the first time was to be able to, let's say, calibrate my palate with the people who are more into coffee than me at that time, let's say. So when I went to the institute at SCA, I was able to speak to the trainers. We were able to judge some blends, talk about it, cup it together. So those kind of things really set me to the next level, to now be able to actually identify a little bit more, right? Slightly higher than a layman, maybe not as a professional, but that was the idea. That's the part that I really love. So online education is one part, but I feel that in the skill, as you mentioned, practice, we need to have hands-on practice with the machine. We need to be able to sit with other people from the fraternity and discuss our notes. This is good, this is bad, this is happening, this is acidic level is high, my palate is such, and the customer's palate is such.
So the palate development and understanding the coffee is over time. I started off by learning. So what I tell my customers and how I explain it to other people is just like, your palate is you know what is sour, you know what is sweet, and you know what is bitter, which is the general palate.
Yes.
Start off with that, and then start identifying your palate or developing your palate as you go, trying to identify where have I tasted these tasting notes, or what does these tasting notes resemble, such as when you have bananas very often. So certain times you have these banana notes in your coffee. Trying to identify those notes in your coffee is a general development, and that happens over time.
True.
And it takes years. Some people takes hardly few time. Each
Yes, of
palate
course,
is
there's
different
natural
as
talent,
well.
and then there is talent that comes with
Everyone's
experience.
palate is different.
So it's always that way.
And it opens a whole new ball game and idea about
Once I got into it, I remember there was a period where I was smelling everything. Anything have been given to drink or eat, I'm like, and then I go and take a sip or take a bite, And so to like even my wife was like, well, why are you smelling this? Like there's no reason. It's a cup of milk. Why are you smelling it? But no, I just want to know everything now.
Sure.
What is the note? What is the taste? And it's been a fun ride. The exploratory part has been beautiful. That I think is more or less what we wanted to talk about today. With regards to Indian Aeropress Championship, we will be using the beans from Salawara plantation. That will be specifically roasted to our taste or our profile, let's say. And now we hope that the participants can also kind of bring out the best from it.
True.
And
I hope they like the coffees, what they brew, and I'm sure give it a best shot, and hope this Aeropress Championship brings a stepping stone to their coffee.
that is the intention. Thank you so much, Sharan. Let's try the coffee actually. Thank you. This cup has been in brewing for the last 12-15 minutes. Let's see how it goes. Cheers. It's a very bad idea to interview with brewing. I'm so sorry about this. Let's go brew another cup. See you guys. See you next time. Bye bye.